Okay, so today's lesson is a combo of several different things. This is some of the things we do at the Academy, both online and at Lake Cliff here in Austin, Texas, is that we use a combination of many different disciplines to help get what we're trying to get in the golf swing and in golf performance in general. So I'm going to pop off these flip flops real quick so you can see what we're doing, and you're going to wonder why I'm barefoot. And so we're going to start with the golf swing. This is really not about the swing today in general. You go through the YouTube videos that we have, and you'll see that we have plenty that talk about that. We don't hold anything back. We just lay it out there. So, but one of the things I wanted to talk to you today, which I haven't really put in our videos, is how to load into your feet in the backswing. And I'm not going to really get into the transition. I may get into it a little bit, and then how to load into the lead foot coming through. And then I'll go over the variables that you have with that you'll see on the tour and with high-level amateurs as well. So the first thing is, in a traditional posture, so if I was working with kettlebells, I have lines on the ground here that I can see, and I would probably work from this line to this line. And I would have the big toe and the second toe on each one in a straight line, and I would want my knees to be just inside that, and then I want my hips in alignment, and I want my shoulders in alignment. So I wouldn't want to be, if you look, if I was doing a kettlebell swing, which I will do here in a minute, I don't really want really flared feet. There's obviously, we call it duck's feet in golf, as you start to open the feet slightly. When you open the feet slightly like this, you don't want the hips to shift, and we will see that a lot. Okay, so what you want to do is practice in your fitness by lining your joints up. Use an iPad so you can practice video just like you would your golf swing. And so that'll start with the alignment. Now we're going to go into the golf swing, which we go to duck's feet. So let's say we just open the feet maybe 15 degrees here. You can open up a little bit more. You can see I tend to open up a little more on the left, but my joints are still facing forward. My feet might be open. That'll allow me range of motion with my hips. But I don't want my left foot to be open, and then I grip it to set up here, and then my left hip's wide open, my shoulder, my thoracic's open, everything's open. I want to make sure my joints are square, perpendicular to the target line, and then we'll start from there. So then as we rotate into our backswing, remember what I said about the big toe here. The big toe, sorry you got to see my nasty feet here, but that's the big toe and the second toe. And what I'm going to do is root those two toes alone into the ground. I'm not going to use the third, fourth, and fifth, and the little toe on each one. I'm going to primarily try to root just those 2 feet. I hear some people talk about, and they're in the ballpark, about just root, talonize all the toes. You don't really want to do that. You want to just isolate it and use the big toe and the second toe to root into the ground. So as you go to press and you're swinging in your backswing, I can feel the whole time that I've got pressure in my big toe and second toe as I go, no matter how wide I get. If I start to break, you see my toe rolled out, and you'll see that with golf shoes sometimes. And it's not the golf shoe. I've heard people blame the golf shoe. It's not the golf shoes. It's you. I can do this barefoot. I can do bad golf shoes. I can do it with my flip-flops. I can do whatever I want to do because I'm controlling the pattern, not some external thing like a golf shoe. So when you root this with the big toe and the second toe, watch for this roll. You'll see it, and some people will obviously roll away, reverse pivot, and the same thing. Even though you'll see all the way over here, the ankle's still bending to the right. You can see the hip, everything's bending. There's no root in this right side, and so you lose the root in that big toe and the second toe. So what we want to do is practice, and don't just do this. Don't just lift your arms. Make your golf swing, like we've talked about, push down, press, rotate, and width, and maintain torque inside that toe, those 2 toes. And watch for it and then correct it. It'll take some flexibility, and we're going to go into that. If you'll hang with us here, this first part's a little slow. If you'll hang with me, I'm going to show you the fitness exercises to help correct this. And then, of course, you have the functional part, which is what we're doing right now. Now, as we get here and we've rooted, you can see everything's loaded through my center. I haven't moved off the ball. You can see if I move off, it's changed. I've got a strong root in this right side. My left leg is still rooted. I'm not leaning, but it's rooted down, even though the angle is kind of behind the ball or whatever. Both legs are rooted, but I can really feel pressure in that big toe. Now, as I circle, if you've seen this before in my videos, I'll sink and circle, and unwind and start to move forward through the shot, I've got a root now between the big toe here, same thing, these two. I don't want to be, before impact, left knee out. That's not typically what you would see. Most of the time you would see this, where the left knee pulls back, the left hip pulls back, reverse pivot, whatever you want to call it. You lose pressure with the foot. Now, you don't want to just try to stay stable and keep the foot here. There's going to be, you're going to let the knee get up to about the third toe here, and the hip will be slightly behind that. That'll make sure that if you're training and you're working on these alignments, you'll work yourself up in time to what we call a grip alignment point in time. Like it'll be in sequence together. It won't be like you run out here in front or you don't snap and then go. It's none of that stuff. You just take your time and work yourself up through the shot like you're supposed to. Okay? But again, the point is big toe, second toe. That's your alignment. Okay? And they're rooting. And if you're in fitness, I'm going to run back here. If we're in fitness and doing these drills, they're rooted this way. So if I'm doing a forward lunge, if I'm doing like a walking lunge, I'll do it like this. I would try to hit this line again. Okay? If I come here, this is an alignment. Okay? I want all this stuff. I'm hitting these lines. So everything, you'd be surprised just even doing this little stuff, you'll see people land like this, or they'll land, you know, you'll see the knee will collapse inward like this on a lunge. The stride length will be way too far. So what we do is we put these lines up. You can use tape on your floor, and I put this line right in between the big toe and the second toe. And so any movement, if I'm making a walk, if I'm just working on, like, I'll do it a little closer here. If I'm just walking, I'll hit just like that and practice and really focus on landing and just getting these alignments correct and learning how to root through that. Now, will that help you with golf? No, but it'll certainly help you with back pains, neck pains, knee pains, a lot of different things. It's one of the first steps to understanding neutral posture. So we'll go back to the swing. So I'm going to run through this one more time, and then we'll get on to the fitness side of it to help you with this. So we go joint alignment, then we'll kind of break away from that without losing the hips or the shoulders when we set up. We're going to root ourselves in through the top, big wide rotation. You don't want to just sit here. This would be a mistake that you rooted in that leg, but you haven't rotated the hip. We're looking for rotation in that back hip, okay? But we're looking for that root. You know, that's a strong into the ground. This leg's strong into the ground. Both of them, if I want to, you can hear the sound. If I was light, if I was one leg light, if I was over twisted, I can't make any noise. If I'm rooted correctly like this, you can hear the torque if I want, right? So I have a lot of torque to work with. You can't pull something you don't have, which is torque. If you don't have torque, you can't use it against the golf ball. You can't use it in martial arts, in a submission hold in jiu-jitsu. There's a million things. If you have torque, you really can do whatever you want. You can be, if I have torque, I can be soft and smooth through the swing, or I can be, you know, really create a lot of whipping energy. Okay, but you got to have that torque. I'm not talking really about, when I do this, how much your shoulders turn over your hips and all that stuff. That's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for out of this lesson to help you players with is to learn how to really root. Don't give an inch on that big toe to second toe. Keep that rooted in that discipline in all your stretching and in your golf swing, and then as you circle and unwind, as you move through the ball, that's rooted again. Again, I still have, you can hear at impact, I'm rooted, so that gives me better stabilization of the face through the shot. Okay? If this knee's back, so alignments will affect that. If the knee's back, if the foot's rolled, now the foot will, what'll happen is a lot of players you'll see, they'll get up here and they'll start to stand up and roll. You wouldn't want to train for that. If that happens, and that naturally happens in your golf swing, where you see Bubba Watson and Jordan Spieth and some of those players, there's nothing wrong with that. Because what will happen is, when you're seeing them do that, they're striking the ball and they're rolling forward. It's not as bad on the knee as you think. When you see the ankle rolling out forward, it's working with the knee. If I was to plant here and try to move forward, I would be putting a lot of strain on the ACL. So what we're looking for as you do this, if you get here in your training is what I'm talking about. If you have some roll and stuff like that, you know, if you're here and you're rolling, that's okay. But in your training, really train yourself to be disciplined. Even into the finish, you'll see I'm still trying to practice the root. I'm not trying to lean forward out here. with my body, I'm trying to hold pressure against that as my body's rotating forward and moving forward. So I don't, over rotate and then blow out, through the heel here, over rotate and then expose my spine. Okay? So anyway, I hope that helps you when you're in your golf swing. It's just really simple. You just root both and then and through. You can see there that swing was rooted. It was rooted and moving forward. So you'll see a lot of the slack go away in the golf swing. Okay? But you can still be relaxed. Now, so what I'll do now is I'm going to show you a couple things with just flexibility and posture. So as we go down, so even if you're working, move these kettlebells out of the way. All right, so even if I'm working just sitting here like this, which looks like a piece of cake, I want to make sure this camera is just a hair off, but my joints are all in alignment right here. On camera it looks like they're a little out, they're not. That's just the camera view. So it'd be right there. And now all these joints are in alignment. Now when you're doing this, you don't want to open up the feet, okay? Now, I'm not looking for how much you can bend, and I can put my head on my knees and all that stuff. That's not the goal of this. This is just to learn how to develop your posture in these alignments. So the big toe and the second toe, we want up and not rotated out, and not collapsed and relaxed with the knees. So you just first set up like that, and then you'll see the second part. And what we're going to do, I'm going to get my... When I do my yoga, especially sitting like this, I will get a little pillow underneath my hips, and I put right to the edge. And that'll really help your alignment, and it'll help your core engage. It's one of the things you do in meditation too. So if you see here, now I'm going to look over here, so my neck's going to be a little forward. But right there is neutral posture for me. So I've got my alignments here. Okay? If I create like a cup right here and stick my butt out like that and expand my chest, that's not neutral. That's what a lot of people think are neutral posture, and it's really not. What that is, it's exposing the back and the lower lumbar part of the spine. And if you're doing this, sticking the neck back, you're exposing the cervical part too. So what you're really looking for, as I'll hold it right here, is to really feel it flat, thoracic, flat, really wide shoulders. You want really wide. You shouldn't be, the core's going to be engaged because it's mechanically engaged, not because you force it. When you get your alignment right, what will happen is you'll be able to breathe through the diaphragm, inhale and exhale both. Okay, so you start with that. I'm going to show you a couple things just with flexibility. Now, here's a good stretch for golfers. Again, this kind of, remember we're working with duck's feet a little bit. So this is a great stretch for golfers. Okay. Now, most of you, when you do this, will not be able to, let me get my cushion under here. You will not be able to pull your ankles into your body and put your knees down. All right, I've trained my whole life in martial arts, and I'm pretty flexible and all that stuff. So I understand. So when I see players come in, they'll get right here, and that's kind of where they are. And that means that they need more work into their hips. Now, do you have to, if this is all you got, can you play good golf? Absolutely. If you've heard me talk, I could see a player right here, and I'm not going to tell them that they can't play good golf. I've got more sense than that. These are just things that if you do already play at that high level and you start to increase this more and increase this more, you're going to see more flow in your swing. You're going to be able to have less risk for injuries, and it'll just help you all the way around. I mean, it's just common sense. You want as much mobility as you can get, as much strength as you can get, where you don't lose either one, right? So we'll start with that. I haven't really ever practiced this before, but a friend of mine asked me if I would try it, and I tried it. It's the lotus position, and so let's see if I can remember how to do it. Let's see. For some of you that have practiced this before. So there's probably a lot of easier ways to do it than that, but if you have really flexible hips, you can go into a full lotus position, and most people cannot do this. I've never practiced it, never had a mentor on it, but I just tried it the first time. I mean, it looked like a clown trying to do it for the first time, but I don't have any pains here. You know, that's full mobility. Now, even when I'm here, what I'm trying to do is maintain neutral posture here. Not so much here. This is good. If I take care of this part right here, the alignments, all the way through the neck, I'm having to look back so my head's a little down. I would normally have it flat, and then I breathe through the diaphragm. As soon as I start to breathe through the diaphragm, I can feel this fluid filling up, okay? And compressing right through the diaphragm. So this is all engaged. This is really strong. Now, this is typically where like I said, most of you know a little bit about my background, and this is where I would do my meditation and breathing techniques and so forth. And now if I was wanting to, you don't want to roll the shoulders forward here like this towards the camera. I want to pull these back, stand, and really get my body centered. And this is where I would start a lot of. Now, again, most of you won't be able to do that. So I would recommend, if you're doing this, a drill that I would do is just practice on this, opening and closing that. You're going to have to work on your ankle flexibility and just put it one piece at a time. And I would also hire somebody, if you're really, you know, the lotus thing is, it's really cool to demonstrate because it takes a lot of flexibility, but I would, get a good yoga instructor and tell them you want to be able to open your hips up, or come train with us online. And we have, like I said, I've never trained for the lotus. I just can do it because of our training, what we do. So you'll be able to I can't say you can do the lotus. That's blowing smoke up your butt. But what I can say is that you'll get a hell of a lot better than what you were when you started. I can assure you that. Okay? But it's not just about gaining all this flexibility stuff. It's about maintaining alignment. So I'll explain that a little bit. So even when I go back here, if I want to go into kind of like a runner's. So if I've got here, I've got my alignments. I can collapse and put my head down on my knee and all that stuff, go all the way down. That's not what the goal is. My goal is to get in posture. I may get to here, and even that I don't really like. Right there, I like that. And I can feel a great hamstring stretch, core activation. My posture's good, so I'm in a safe position to learn from. Okay? If I was to collapse and try to put my head down or something like that, you're collapsing the spine. Yeah, you may get a little more hamstring stretch, but you're going to potentially hurt the spine. So I don't like to go all the way. I just like to go where the core is activated, pull the elbows back a little bit. My thoracic's out of the way now. I've got good alignment like we talked about from the big toe, second toe, the knee, and the hip. They're in a great alignment. And then I can bend, and I can start my breathing process. One thing I'm not going to talk about here is the breathing. You just have to train with me if you want to learn more about that, which you do need to learn more about that. Okay, so I'll show you one more from just a butterfly. We'll pull this into posture. All right. I'll pull my knees at the end. That engage. You can see what happened when I pull my ankles for torque here. That'll pull sometimes this forward. So right at the end, I like to pull this back. That pulls my chest back into alignment. Then I can roll my pelvis a little forward. That you can't really see that under here. You'd be able to see it in other videos standing. And then I'll start to breathe, and then I'll lower myself down. Again, I can go all the way down. That's not the goal of this. The goal is to get about right here. I'll pull my elbows back from my thoracic spine, so I have that, and then I'll grab my wrist here. I can bend forward. And there we go. And then, so, same thing. What we'll do, pull that in. Pull the knees out for width, and pulling the shoulders back. If I want the knees flat, I can. And what I'll do from here is simply rotate. I've got good strong posture. I'm upright, so this will be good clean thoracic rotation. If you watched other videos, if you have not, you can go through them. Now, I may give up a little bit here. I see that I'm collapsing a little bit when I try to rotate, so I'm going to open them up, give myself a little room. Stay really upright. This hand is right behind my body. Keeps me. I'm not leaning. I'm staying really upright, breathing through my diaphragm, and I can use this hand to torque against the knee. I'll go and switch on the other side. So I go back here, pull it all in, make sure it's taut here, taut. I'll work myself around, and I can use this. Again, I would start to breathe through my diaphragm. So those are some of the things that you can do to help what we talked about. Those are going to help mobility. See, if you have mobility, so when you're in your golf swing and you're doing all this stuff, what happens is if I start to turn here, then this foot will start to rotate. You'll over-rotate with the hips because you don't have enough mid-spine flexibility. Or you don't have enough just good, clean quality of a root between the big toe and the second toe, like I talked about. You lose stability right here, right? And that's a function of a lot of different things that I don't have time to really go into all those. But I do know that if you watch all of our players, you'll see the ones that train with us here, they have a tremendous amount of flexibility. They have a tremendous amount of strength. We call it golf strong, where you're basically essentially working on strength, breathing, posture, mobility, balance, and understanding yourself. It's all about understanding yourself. So, you see players and learning to gain confidence and belief in yourself. It's a lot of different things, and pushing yourself to the boundaries with challenges and anything that makes you potentially play better. And some of the mistakes that we see typically are, the players, they start by not believing in themselves, and I see this with even PGA Tour players, where they go out and hire new instructors and they try to revamp their swings. And if you look at the history of that, of players going in and revamping their swings that they've done since they're this high, instead of just chipping away and making what they have better. If you look when somebody revamps their swing and does something opposite of what they do, extremes, they play terrible because it's not who they are. It would be like trying to take Jim Furyk. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Furyk because of the fact that, he did things his way. He chipped away and he became a better athlete. He just became better golf strong. He played, he didn't really change anything. He just played golf and he got better as he went along. And I believe we teach more about the energy of the golf swing. We don't teach. We certainly have lines we look at and angles. We show the variations of what we call the plane on the downswing because there's a big variable, and all of them will work at a very high level. We do believe that some are a little more efficient. We talk about the circular energy of the body. A lot of those things that we do are based around energy and torque in the golf swing. And we try to, both in the online program or if you come train with us, we try to show you that you can do all these things in your fitness through kettlebells and through our yoga exercises, through our breathing and our everything works together. It's not like that you're working on this golf swing over here, then all of a sudden you're doing a fitness exercise that has nothing to do with it. And that doesn't make sense to me. And we're also, if you're a high-level player, whether you're a PGA Tour player or high-level amateur player, we don't go in and break down golf swings. We go in and make what you do better. We call it the 1% rule. You make it 1% better every day. Not your golf swing, your whole game. It's about a whole game. And if I can give advice right now, I used to, now that I've done this as long as I have, before when I used to talk with PGA Tour players, I admit it. I used to be pretty nervous and I think most people are when they talk with high-level athletes as a coach. And then all of a sudden you do it long enough, and then you don't get nervous, and you start to tell them the truth. You start to tell them, like, you know what, don't go out and change it. My advice for you, if you're a PGA Tour player, up-and-coming PGA Tour player, if you get to the tour or you're already out there, don't make radical swing changes. Don't buy the stuff out there that you're hearing that you come train with me and we'll change it all up and you'll be at the next level. Don't do it. It's the worst mistake you'll ever make. I can assure you. You got to make you strong. The great players were individuals, and there's a time to lead and follow in life. And if you're a tour player, you better be leading the way. You better be the leader. You better not hire an instructor to be your leader. You can hire him as a mentor to help you chip away at the mountain or whatever, but don't ever sell out your game. Be you. Make you. If you really have it and you think you have a lot of talent, then you move forward with what you have. And things will start to line up in your life that the right people will start to come in. You start going in desperation mode, thinking that you need to change this and that and this and that, change the whole world. It's not going to work. You have to change. You have to believe in yourself and look at the stats, look at where you're at, and start to feed what you need. You can't just go in and make all these radical swings. It's the best advice I can give you. I don't care if you're actually a 100 shooter. You just got to chip away. That's the goal. That's how you become a great player. Okay? So I'll show you a couple of kettlebell exercises that we do to strengthen up again, There's two ways to do the kettlebell exercise. I'll show you both. This is a 30-pound. You really don't need a 30-pound. I mean, most men just train with a 20. You know, in golf, we don't have to have all this, you don't need a 100-pound kettlebell and all that stuff and big bench press, all that. What you want is joint function and good solid strength in the muscles. But you don't have to be a strongman, that's for sure. We want this centered. Now, we will have it in front of us when we do this. And what we would do, we want these the toes in. See all the alignment here. Now, if I wanted a little more like that, you see, I could do it, but then the kettlebell doesn't fit through. So that's why I'm going to have a little bit wider on this right here. So I've been down. Again, I'm keeping that posture that we talked about. You can remember from the back view. Joint alignment, good clean joint alignment. I'll move that foot in a little bit more. And then I'll go grab it. And when I go to grab it, I'll have a little squat here. So I don't want to grab it this way. I'll grab it this way. And then I'm going to swing it like like I'm hiking a football, like that. You can see at the end how it went like this. That's going to be how you will swing it in the backswing part on the kettlebell. And when you come up, it'll come up right here to your sternum. It'll be locked in. You can see I've got my shirt out, but you can see that this is all locked in. So this would be too much if you're collapsing. This is not enough. We'll see most people will come up, they don't get their hips through. They'll go like this, where this would be all the way correct. I can feel rooted and locked in. So it would look like this. Then I'm going to go down here. I'll squat at the end, hike it. Okay, so that's a two-hand swing. So down the line, or excuse me, from the side, what that looks like, same swing, is as I'm swinging, you can see I'm hinging my hips back. Now we teach a little trickier move with posture. I won't go into a lot of it, but as the hips go back, we roll the pelvis slightly forward. It's hard to do. You have to train for it standing. And then we hike and get everything locked. Okay, just like if I was taking something, I was going to throw it out or vertical. I wouldn't go like this. I wouldn't go like this, blow my back out, or I wouldn't go like that. I would go like that. That locks everything in. When you're on the upswing with this kettlebell, what you want to feel like your muscles are working kind of like a V here. They're working inward. So as I'm here, not my knees, but I'm here, like that. I can feel the core cutting on both sides inward. Okay. The same thing with the glutes, they will come inward. Okay? On the backswing, just remember you're trying to get good joint alignment where the hips are back, but the pelvis is neutral, and then you come up, pelvis is neutral, thoracic's neutral, and so forth. Okay? So that's the way, and really all of the exercises in kettlebell are based off the two-hand deadlift and the two-arm kettlebell swing. And also the one-arm. There's some people in the kettlebell industry that don't like especially in kettlebell sport, that don't like the two-hand. I found it to be very successful for golf. That's why I've stayed with it. So you can do either one. The one-hand swing, you can have the kettlebell in front of your behind, doesn't matter to me. So I'll slide it here. So if you look at that, what will happen is with that exercise, there's thoracic rotation and there's resistance here, right? So I don't collapse. I'm not collapsing. I'm building resistance here, torque, and then I'm getting my rotation in the same hip movement. Okay? Great exercises for golf. I haven't found really anything really better than those to start with, the ones I'm showing you here. Now we have hundreds of them. But those are the baseline. When you learn this baseline, then you can get into the fancier stuff where you're seeing on the videos where you're here. Some of these other ones, I hold it, let it come down, extension, all that. All that's fine and dandy, but you have to have the basics down first. Okay, so the last thing here that we'll go into, let's see. We'll go into a little bit. I'll do a 30 here. And I'll just do a little, it's called the snatch test. It's just a lift. And I'll just go and I'll probably do 20 or 30 on each arm. It just shows you once you do it. I haven't trained out in a few weeks. And this will be good to show you how it's good for your cardio, it's good for function, good for core strength, mobility. As most of you know, you can't get your arm above your head and hold it in a straight line like this, in line with your ear. The kettlebell training and what we're doing with the shoulder mobility in our program will certainly allow you to get better at it. So anyway, I'll start the snatch test here and then we'll go from there. I'll do double breathing. I'll be exhaling the whole time, so it'll be you'll hear a different type of breathing on this, and that's because I'm not looking for compression breathing, which is more like power into the core. I'm looking for kind of like, if you will, marathon breathing, which is double breathing, flowing. I'm not looking for raw power because I'm going to do a lot of reps. So anyway, here we go. I can keep going, but I'm going to probably stop on the next one so I don't bore you to death. Then we go to what we call swing, clean. Okay, so that's a 30-pound kettlebell, 14 kg. I think you can see hopefully on there. I don't know if you can see that or not. It doesn't really matter. It's a 30-pounder. Anyway, you can tell it takes takes everything: cardio, strength. It takes alignment, posture, breathing. It takes everything to be able to do that. And you don't have to be, you don't have to be able to do a 100-pound kettlebell to be good at golf. A 10 for ladies is a good start, working your way up to 30. For men, starting at about 15 or 20 and working yourself up to 30. It's about joint function. It's about posture, breathing, mobility. You wouldn't think that this does a lot, but then all of a sudden you start doing it, and you look at all this range and rooting that you have. It's developing. As you're doing all this stuff here, you can see you're developing the glute muscles that all the great players talk about and coaches talk about. So you're developing depth, that root we're talking about in the golf swing. You're developing thoracic mobility, and you're developing lat extension. Okay? So when you see yourself swing, it becomes a piece of cake. So if I was to go in and swing now, it's not going to be real difficult. It's a piece of cake because I have so much stability and range from just doing the flexibility, the body weight, the breathing, and then the kettlebell. So anyway, I hope this helps you. And if you have any questions, just email them to me at eliteGolfing@gmail.com. If you want to train with us online, we'd love to have you. You know, spread the word. The guys in our program are playing well, and they can speak for themselves. They're big boys. But I'm telling you, if you want to play good golf, you're in the right spot. Go to EliteGolfPerformance.net. My name is Matt Christian. I hope you have a great day.